let's take a break, a little mathematical, scientific break, but with a lot of generally recognized truths. But again, please don't take it to heart. Treat it as a joke in the end. We all know it is famous that time is money, right? Time is money is very famous. We also know that it is very famous that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And being students of science and engineering, if we now come to the scientific definition, then power is work per unit time. So power is work upon time. This is scientific. Now with these three equations, let us try to do some simple math. If power is work upon time, right, and knowledge is power, so instead of power, we write knowledge. So we have knowledge is equal to work upon time. And because time is money, therefore replace time with money. So knowledge is equal to work upon money, right? Very scientific. Knowledge is work upon money. So this last equation, I am just rearranging. Money is work upon knowledge. So now look at this for the rest of your life, for the future. If you want large amount of money, you should work a lot. You cannot work only a little and get a lot of money. But if you need a large amount of money, your knowledge should be small. If your knowledge is large, this whole amount goes down, which is money. Do you understand? If you want to work a little and still get the same money, your knowledge level should be small. If your knowledge level is very big, then you will have to work very, very hard to get the same amount of money. So this is scientific, but hopefully you try to find some other logic in the future. Break over. So if you have tried to solve the example by yourself, then hopefully you have learned something, whether you succeeded or failed. So let us go and see how we try to solve it together. This is the equation, right? This is the equation that is applicable. Ln of r bar upon r naught is 0.283, integral 0 to epsilon equivalent. Exponent of e raised to 1.5 sigma m upon sigma ys d epsilon equivalent plastic. And when the triaxiality ratio remains constant, right, then what will happen? Then this term will go outside. So ln r bar by r naught is 0.283. Exponent, this whole exponent goes out, and it is integral of 0 to this dE epsilon equivalent, right? And now you have simply integral differential. So this term just changes into epsilon equivalent, right? So if you do this and you go back to the basic definition, that r bar is r1 plus r2 plus r3 and so on, and you try to do it, but here I don't really want to have an exact solution. But if you do this plot, then right, you change the values, because it is given that the ratio varies from 0 to this value. So you can have values on 2 Excel columns, one value, say with every 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 from 0 to 10, 0 to 20, you change it, and then you see the calculated value. On one cell you have calculated the value, right, and then on the other cells you just copy it. So you have 20, 30, 50 values, and then you can plot them. That is how you generally do it. So this is the plot that you will get. This is the actual plot of that equation. But I am just interested for you to get a rough idea, So on the vertical axis, right, equivalent strain at failure, On the horizontal axis, the ratio of mean stress to equivalent stress, right? So this is L, my typing mistake, equivalent plastic strain at failure as a function of stress triaxiality. So at 0, this is a very large strain, right? And at you increase the mean stress, compared to the equivalent stress, then it keeps on going down, and these are the values. So, right, so this will happen that as the mean stress increases in comparison with equivalent stress. Remember, in the very beginning of the chapter, we reminded you that you have the principal stresses sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3. Their average is the mean stress. And then there is an simple equation for the von Mises equivalent stress based on again sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3. So those equations are with you. So in any given case, you know what those values are and so on, right? And that the reference stress in the equation in the model is to be taken as the yield strength, right, of a certain material. So this is the pattern that it will have. As we are not doing it in a very numerical way, therefore we just wanted to show you that. So the important thing is, remember that when we are doing any fatigue type of examples, if you remember chapter 1, then the ratio and the range and so on, right? Because your stress is varying from minimum to maximum, and then the ratio of minimum to maximum and the range of the minimum to maximum, if you change any one of them, then the behavior of the fatigue changes. So here we are saying the same thing, that whenever the ratio of the mean stress to the equivalent stress changes, then this is how it will behave, right? So for now, let us leave it at this. And as I said, at a higher level of the course, or when you are working in a company where you are actually looking at the fracture mechanisms of a selected few metals, then this study can be done in more detail. With that, we have covered the mechanisms, and now I want to give you some visuals, right, actual pictures of fracture surfaces in different cases, so that even though this is your first course in fracture, but you have a general idea that you can distinguish that, oh, this fracture happened because of this reason, this fracture happened because of this reason, and so forth, right? So the micrographs that we will be showing you will be of fractured surfaces, and in the beginning we will do general fatigue and fracture. So see here, stress corrosion cracking of a stainless steel. Stainless steel is there is corrosion under stress, right? It is not simple corrosion, it is corrosion when at the same time higher loads are applied. So the loads are there, and at the same time there is a corrosive atmosphere. So you see that they are mostly on grain boundaries. So this is stress corrosion cracking. This is brilliant, beautiful, right? Striation pattern is characteristic of fatigue fracture. Whenever you have samples that have failed by fatigue, there have been 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, 1,000,000 cycles of load before the failure happens, right? Because in your fatigue machine, you have noted down with the computer that how many cycles were there before failure. So on the surface of the material, these depressions are formed, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, countless of them. You can see that this much distance is 3 microns. So if the total is 5 times that, 6 times that, it is only 15-20 microns, right? Only 15-20 microns. Remember, very, very, very small size. So if this is 3 micron, the thickness of 1 is not even 1 micron. It is less than 1 micron, right? So it is very small. It is very small. But each 1 micron is like 1 crack. I always like to compare it to the life of a tree, of a big tree that has been there for 10, 20, 30, 50, 60 years. Now the tree has a big trunk, right? That round solid thing from the ground upwards is the trunk of the tree, and upwards there are branches. If you see, if you have noticed, if you have gone to lumber yards where these cut trunks are there, when you saw cut through the trunk, there are round circles inside, and it has been scientifically known that each circle resembles 1 year of the tree's life. So if there are 25 circles inside, then roughly the tree was there for 25 years and so on. So you see, nature is unbelievable. I keep on wondering that some of our fellow scientists believe that everything happened by accident, but these are unbelievable accidents, that all trees, their genes, right, whatever they are made up of, are trained in such a way that they keep a track inside the wooden trunk of the material, that once 1 year of life is completed, there is 1 circle. 1 second year, there is second. So here, when the material is being loaded under fatigue, then for each fatigue cycle there is 1 crack. Each fatigue cycle there is 1 crack. Each fatigue cycle there is 1 crack. So if you can count these cracks, you can see the number of fatigue cycles if you can enlarge enough, right? So this is brilliant. These marks are called striations. Striations. These marks are called striations. So the whole pattern is striation pattern. Fatigue fractures exhibit distinct features called striations. When viewed at high magnification using scanning electron microscope, striations appear as relatively evenly spaced parallel lines, right? Evenly spaced parallel lines. Now this is much more enlargement. Each striation is actually a shallow crack that results from a single load or a stress cycle. Repetition of these cycles produces an advancing repetition of shallow cracks, as shown above in the fatigue fracture of a hydraulic valve body. This process is characterized by the term fatigue crack propagation, right? That each crack is there and then they are propagating. So this is beautiful, right? In the previous figure, we showed you the striations. Here, these are the striations on an actual steel hydraulic valve body, right? And of course, valves go through fatigue loads and so on. So you can see appearance or morphology. Morphology is a structure, right? You can see all these striation lines, and then you can see different type of striations with other cracks also. So appearance of fatigue fracture striations varies depending on the magnitude and frequency of the applied load and the physical characteristics of the affected component. The material, what was the hardness and the microstructure and the chemical composition, etc. These SEM images illustrate fatigue striations in an aluminum valve body left and an alloy steel high pressure hydraulic cylinder right. So this was the aluminum and this was the steel, and roughly the magnification, if you see, this is 10 microns, this is 10 microns, so they are roughly at the same magnification. So you can see that if you are experienced, then even though there are striations here and there are striations here, but just by looking at the difference, you would know, oh, this is some type of an aluminum alloy and this is some type of an steel alloy and so on, right? So if we work in a particular environment in the industry or in the research labs, then we get used to it very quickly. So you see the beautiful striation marks under fatigue failure.